I used to believe love could survive anything. I thought 50 years together meant nothing could break us. But pride has a way of sneaking into your life quietly, almost invisibly, until one day it feels like it's the only thing between you and the person you love most. I remember sitting on our old porch one autumn evening, Eleanor knitting beside me, the sunlight catching the silver strands in her hair, and thinking, if I don't learn to let go of my stubbornness, I might lose her. We had built a life together, shared laughter, long drives, late-night talks. But even in the warmest homes, pride can make strangers of people who once promised forever. My name is Walter James. I'm 93 now, and this is the story of Eleanor Collins, my wife for 50 years. I first met her when we were just children of a small Midwestern town, young enough to dream and naive enough to think love was effortless. Eleanor had this quiet strength about her, a warmth that could fill a room, a patience that I didn't always deserve. We were married before either of us truly understood the work it took to make a marriage last. Our early days were simple. A tiny apartment with creaky floorboards, early mornings brewing coffee together, and evenings spent reading or talking about nothing and everything. I can still remember the smell of her homemade bread, the sound of her laugh echoing down the hallway, and the comfort of her hand brushing against mine as we sat on the sofa. These small rituals, the daily acts of love, they built the foundation of our life together. But even the strongest foundation can crack when pride enters the picture. Pride didn't storm in with fanfare. It whispered. It sat in the corners of our arguments. It lingered in the pauses after we disagreed. I hated asking for help. I hated admitting I was wrong. And sometimes I would hold on to my ego like it was a shield, thinking I was protecting Eleanor or protecting myself. There were mornings when she would suggest something, simple things, maybe rearranging the living room or asking me to join her in a new hobby, and I would shut her down, insisting I knew better. I can see it now, the hurt flickering in her eyes. But at the time I told myself it was nothing, a small disagreement. But these small cracks widened over the years. Pride made me believe that bending meant weakness, that apologies were a sign of failure. I was blind to how these choices were quietly eroding what we had built. There were battles we never spoke aloud. We smiled at dinner. We nodded in agreement when friends asked about us, but behind closed doors, the air would sometimes be heavy with unspoken resentment. I remember one winter, a cold December evening, Eleanor asked me to help with the bills. A simple request. Instead of helping, I snapped, my voice harsh, my pride bruised because I felt undermined. She didn't argue. She didn't cry. She simply looked at me with those patient eyes, and I felt a shame I couldn't explain. These were the silent battles, when I refused to compromise, when I let my stubbornness win over kindness. I often wondered during those quiet nights if she was regretting marrying me, if the love we once shared had started to fade beneath layers of pride and miscommunication. And yet, even in those moments there was a glimmer of hope. Her resilience, her unwavering presence, reminded me that love is not just about passion. It is about endurance, about choosing each other every single day. It was a summer evening when everything changed. We had been fighting over something trivial, nothing really, except my unwillingness to admit I was wrong. Eleanor packed her bag. She said, "Maybe we both need space to think." For the first time in decades, I felt fear, the real fear of losing her, not just the pride of being right. I sat in our old car, staring at the quiet street, and realized that my ego had nearly cost me the love of my life. That night I called her. My voice shook. I said, "I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want my pride to hurt us." She didn't answer immediately. Then she whispered softly, "I've been waiting for you to say that." And in that moment I understood pride is a thief, and humility is the key to saving love. I learned that saying "I'm sorry" is not weakness, it is courage. And forgiveness, true forgiveness, is a gift we give ourselves as much as we give to the person we love. From that night forward, things changed slowly but profoundly. I began to notice the small things, the way Eleanor's eyes lit up when I complimented her, how she held my hand a little tighter after an argument, the gentle encouragement she gave me when I hesitated to try something new. I let go of my stubbornness, learned to listen, and discovered that vulnerability could be beautiful. We celebrated anniversaries with renewed gratitude, cooked meals together with laughter, and danced slowly in our living room, even when the music was just the ticking of the clock. Pride no longer held sway over our hearts. Instead, humility, empathy, and patience rebuilt what I almost let slip away. The years taught me that love is not only about holding on, it's about letting go, letting each other grow, and choosing connection over ego every day. Now, at 93, I can look back and see the tapestry of our 50 years together. Threads of joy, sorrow, mistakes, and triumphs are woven together. And I realize that pride is perhaps the most dangerous thread of all. It sneaks in quietly, but when confronted with honesty and courage, it can unravel and be replaced by something stronger. A love built on understanding, respect, and shared history. Eleanor's patience and grace have been my teachers. The wisdom I gained is simple but profound. Humility does not diminish a man. It elevates him. Love is not about being right. It is about being present, being willing to listen, to forgive, and to grow. And I am grateful. Oh, how grateful I am that I learned this lesson before it was too late. I sometimes wonder, if I had learned this lesson sooner, could we have avoided the silent battles altogether? Could I have loved her more freely, more deeply, without letting pride cloud our hearts? But perhaps that is the point of life, to stumble, to learn, and to finally understand what truly matters before the clock runs out. And I hope that anyone watching this, anyone who has ever let pride get in the way of love, remembers it's never too late to choose love over ego.